Hello and welcome everyone again to another video, and today's video we are going to be talking about the best teams in the Spring Cup Great League format. This is season 18, World of Wonders, and you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/AshRelead, Monday, Friday and during the weekend. Otherwise we stream here on YouTube as well, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to, because it does help the channel a lot. Now moving into the Spring Cup. Spring Cup, it's basically going to start from March 8 to March 15, 3 p.m. Central Time, and Pokemon must be below 1500, which means it's just a Great League format, and you're only allowed to use the three types of Pokemons: water, grass, and fairy, which means there are like some water that beat everything. Is there any water that could beat grass and poison? Yes, there is Toxapex, but it's banned. There is also Mantine, which is also banned, which is a good thing. So like I remember back in the last time Spring Cup was around, Mantine used to be OP. So good thing is that it's banned now, so we don't have to worry about it. Well, usually whenever you ban the best Pokemon, another best Pokemon appear, because you know, like if you don't take #1 spot, someone else will. It's like a tip for your life. If you don't take #1, someone else will. If you don't claim #1, someone else will claim it. Now moving into the main Pokemons. I'm sorry, the background is a bit flashy, but I was trying to find a spring background, like a spring looking bluish, but it feels like it's too flashy. Hopefully it's not. Well, no, it's actually not as bad on the recording, maybe because I have some water background. So moving on. So since we are only allowed to have three types in this cup, so I just, instead of having lead, swap and closer, I'm just gonna have them as each type, and then we will sort them by the best. So if we look at the PvP ranking here, and you will see that Weezing is #1, #2 is Ferrothorn, #3 is Abomasnow. For Ferro, you need a Flash Cannon. You technically don't care about Thunder. Yes, Pelipper is a thing, but you beat Pelipper straight Powered Web. And you need the Flash Cannon for the Fairies, for the Ice, because some of them resist. What about Mawile? Maybe Mawile will become a thing. Tropius, Empoleon, Pelipper, Abomasnow, Empoleon again, because the first one is Shadow, Tentacruel, Shadow, Superior, Ferrothorn, Tentacruel again, and Trevenant. The list is huge, but in this cup, usually because it's very limited, there is only like 5 Pokemons you will be using, and they will be everywhere. So with these sort of cups, it's literally just fun to play for the first 2 days. After that, it just became very repetitive, and the same 3 Pokemons and the same 3 teams. You're either going to hard counter your opponent, or your opponent will hard counter you. And that's where a Pokemon like Pelipper shine. It's just reduce the amount of RPS, and then people will decide to use Lantern, then you just stop left. But no, don't do that, because we are going to suggest you some teams that don't get easily walled. So in the grass type, Ferrothorn is the best, because technically it's the grass that can beat everything. It destroys the poison nuts, which are a huge pain in this cup, and it beats the Flyets. So it beat something like Tentacruel, because you technically take resisted poison damage, and you are still capable of beating Pelipper because you don't take super effective damage from wing attack. What about Gliscopod? Is technically too frail to be used. Abomasnow is the grass that beats all the grass and all the water, but it struggles against the Tentacruel. So maybe people will be running Razor Leaf Obama. I hope no. But the thing about like Abomasnow is that it just gives Ferrothorn so much pain, because Ferrothorn is just so slow. It's like an Umbreon. Like, you don't do fast move pressure, where like Abomasnow has a combination of fast move pressure and charge move pressure, because it has Wither Ball. And if you want to be more annoying, you could also do like Icy Wind. And for the people who keep asking about, would we run Icy Wind on Abomasnow or Wither Ball, I say if you have a Shadow, you run Wither Ball on Abomasnow. If you have non-Shadow, you run Icy Wind. Tropius is technically the third best grass, but honestly I just recommend the first 2. And another grass need to be mentioned here is basically Trevenant, because it's a grass that takes a neutral damage from poison. So if people are using Tentacruel, this thing here is not a bad idea to use, to be honest, because like, what's Tenta gonna do? Throw a Sludge. By that time you will have a Shadow Ball, and you will outpace and you beat them, by the way. And now moving into the Fairy category, and the best Fairy in this cup is basically, or it's the best Pokemon in this cup, it's Weezing. Why? Because Weezing resists grass damage, resists fairy damage, so only waters beat it, and even the waters have hard time to beat it because it has brutal swing. It has like some sort of a neutral damage to throw on the water, like it doesn't rely on landing a poison or a fairy move because it could have brutal swing. The fast move is Fairy Wind, which is one of the spammiest fast moves in the game, and that's what makes Weezing the kind of the best lead in this cup. Another Pokemon that's worth mentioning here is Carbink. Carbink has two jobs, okay? It destroys Obama Snow and Pelipper. That's pretty much it in the entire cup. It destroys those two, and those two are like what I call it the most neutral Pokemons. So we have one, two, Weezing, Pelipper. Weezing, Pelipper, Obama are the most neutral Pokemon. So usually at high MMR, people always try to use a neutral Pokemon and then rely on outplaying the opponent. What Carbink does, it's the only Pokemon that can beat those three neutral Pokemons. So Carbink will find some use in this cup. Shadow A9 technically could be used, but the problem is that if you get Shadow A9 against like some Steel Wing Scorn or like some Carbink in the back, your game is dead. Mawile deserves mentioning because Empoleon now runs a Steel Wing. It's a neutral, but also Mawile has Fire Fang, which is a neutral to the Empoleon. So it's not as bad of a matchup. It destroys the grass, the top two grasses, which are 1, 2, Obama and Pharaoh. Not as much on the Trev because Trev just does a tremendous amount of fast move damage, but you still win, but you have to commit shields while Trev doesn't care to shield. The Dene, I think the Dene will have some sort of a use because it's also a neutral Pokemon because you rely on landing, you rely on electric damage, and technically most like all the waters take like some tremendous amount of damage from electric. Fairies do not resist electric, and it's only grass. So if you are able to dodge to let you didn't dodge the grass, I think the Dene can get some decent work in this cup. The water type, I think the two that worth mentioning the most are Pelipper and Tentacruel. But the thing is, if those two are good, then Dugong is good because Dugong technically doesn't have a bad matchup. Like if Dugong, let's say, like what's a bad Pokemon into Dugong? Let's say grass, because that's super effective to water. Well, you do the super effective back. So what's a horrible matchup here? Probably Firathon, but if you are two fast moves ahead, you can get your moves first and then debuff them, then shield, then debuff them again, then shield, and then they won't be able to take you out because your Ice Shot does damage, while here we have Bullet Seed, which doesn't do any damage. Lantern technically destroys all the water and the fairies. Maybe Lantern lose to the Mouse, but I think it's a scuffed matchup for both because Mouse doesn't have stat product. That's the main thing about the Mouse. So we talked about the Pokemons. Let's talk about the teams. We're going to talk about basic meta teams. We're not going to have that many teams actually, but this is a very limited cup, and the accessibility is not an issue technically. I mean, if you have the only Pokemon that I could see not being non-accessible is literally Weezing, but we have it currently in the research, the monthly research reward, or like the weekly one. I don't know what you call it. I think the weekly one, and you can get a Great League Weezing because you need this thing to be below level 20. And if we are, as you guys know, in this channel, we admired something called top 3 PvPoke. So we look at PvPoke. Number 1 is Weezing. Okay, that's my lead. Number 2 is Firathon. That's my safe swap. Number 3 is Obama Snow. And you combine them together and you call it a team, and the team name is top 3 PvPoke. Yes, that's very creative. I know, but guys, I have a patent about running a top 3 PvPoke teams, and we do love these teams because they usually destroy everything. The main issue I could see with this team is being like 1 is Pelipper, 2 is Dugong maybe is an issue. What else? Maybe Mawile is an issue, but this thing has what's the team? What's the move? No, Overheat, which kills 3 Mawiles and their trainer, to be honest. Now moving into what I call a solid team. So a solid team is just technically a balanced team. You could say this is an ABB double steal, but honestly, like, those are here not because of the steal. It's just like 1 of every type. The best fairy, the best water, the best grass. Obama Snow is an issue, but if you are weak to Obama Snow, remember that we have Steel Wing here, so you're doing super effective fast move damage. You could also do Mirror Shot, which is a spammy charge move. You could, like, you need two to kill to kill the Obama Snow, but it's something, right? If you don't want to run Flash Cannon and like just take forever to do that, you could just spam Mirror Shots. Another team, if you are a Pelipper fan, because I think Pelipper is decent. Well, Pelipper hates the Sea Lantern, so technically with Pelipper you need two hard answers to the lantern. So technically with this, pretty much just win the lead, and you could win the lead if it says all the grass, all the fairy, all the water. Just don't see a lantern, and Dugong might be painful. So technically, if you see a Dugong in the lead, you have to pull up some, I don't know, some sort of a play. Usually, I would let the first move go, I would bait, then I would switch out to Pirathon. I like to keep my lead as healthy as possible. Moving into another team, I call it an anti-meta. It's a solid team. It's not a BB. It's an anti-meta. So the idea behind this team is that if you're able to catch a good lead, like if you're able to get this thing on like something like Mawile, I mean, Pelipper is not a bad lead technically. If you're able to shield the Hurricane or like call a bait, and then whatever they have in the back should be something you destroy. Because if you win the lead with this team, whatever they have in the back is something you destroy. If they have Pharaoh in the back, well, guess what? You have this, which beats Pharaoh. If they have Pelipper in the back, or an ice Pokemon like an Obama Snow or a Dugong or an A9, well, you just go to the Binky, and the Binky will just rock throw them all the way down. We don't have that many teams because you can't get creative whenever like you have only 5 Pokemons to be used. I try as much as possible, and I apologize if the video was abrupt like in some cases, because I'm a bit sick and I was coughing in between, so I had to edit those. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. This is the end of the video. If you guys like these battles, make sure to leave a like. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Peace.